Hello, lovely humans! I have returned, yes! It's weird because last week I didn't post a video. I'm so sorry because my internet was being really cruel and not working for a week, which was fantastic. I ended up going to a friend's place who did have internet, but I couldn't really film anything. I didn't really have anything planned. So I apologise, but I have returned to you lovely humans, yay! Ow, I just hit my hand on my wall. Anyway, today I thought, because I've kind of gone into watching movies a lot more lately, like I usually don't watch that many, like I do watch movies, don't get me wrong, but I'm really picky, like really picky, so I decided that I'm going to list my top 7 favourite movies of all time. These have all had some sort of impact on me at some point, or I just like them in general, and I don't know, these are just my opinion and everything, so if you like these movies, or if there are any other movies that I should watch or anything, please comment down below, and hopefully, you know, you enjoy. That's the main thing, isn't it? It's YouTube. Anyway, my first one is Requiem for a Dream. Now, this movie is interesting because it's one of my favourite movies of all time, but I remember the first time I started watching it was with my beautiful friend. Her name's Nina. Hi Nina, if you're watching, I love you so much. And thank you for introducing me to this movie, because as beautiful as this movie is, both visually, the acting, the script writing, because it was originally a book, but it was really well done, not as great as a book. It's just so haunting, it's just brutal, and it's one of those movies where if you've ever wanted to try drugs like heroin, this will turn you off it completely. Just absolutely, it was just horrendous, and that's why I loved it, because it's just so eye-opening, and it might be dark and dismal and depressing and bleak, but it really has a good point, and it really does have a really good lesson to teach, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely adore this movie, plus Jared Leto in it is quite hot, so I'm not really complaining about that one, am I? The next one is actually one that I just watched recently. It's a documentary, and I've heard about it a lot, and I never really knew what it was about, so I ended up watching it, and it's called Dear Zachary, and oh my god, like, I'm not going to go into what it's about or anything, because the less you know, the better. Like, believe me, the less you know, the better, but it was one of the only movies in my life that have really made me cry, besides Hercules, the Disney one, go figure, and Titanic. But this movie was just so haunting and just brutal, but so beautiful, and you have to watch it. I highly recommend this documentary, and it doesn't go for very long. It only goes for what, an hour and a half, so it's not too bad, but really, you guys have to watch this movie. Like, you have to tell me when you watch it what you loved about it, or like what your opinions on, you know, what they talk about and everything in it is, because it's just brilliant. It's really is. And the next one is actually one of the first horror movies I ever watched. Like, I'm a bit of a horror movie buff myself. I love horror movies. I live for horror movies. I've gone through so many terrible ones for the good ones. That's the beauty of being a horror fan. And this one was the first one I ever watched. And it's The Ring. The American one, not the Japanese one, which I have seen as well. And personally, I thought the American one was better when it came to, like, you know, the scares, where the Japanese one was more of a crime thriller than a horror movie, where the American one made it that way. But don't get me wrong, I love the Japanese version. It's classic. And it's one of my favourite movies ever. I remember I didn't sleep for months after watching that movie. I would have been about the age of 12 or 11 or something, and that one really impacted me, but to this day, like, I watched it again, I'm like, this movie is actually really good. It's fantastic, and again, I highly recommend this movie as well. If you don't want to watch it alone in the dark, or don't like horror movies, maybe not, but still really well done movie. The next one is Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann one. Now, this movie I was obsessed with when I was about 14, 15. I watched it every single day, 3 times a day, all because I had a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio, but not just that. It's his way of, you know, making this classic play, like, with all the old language still intact pretty much, with this modern setting for the time, and it was fantastic. Like, he just integrated them both really well, and it was just fantastic. The visuals in that, again, are fantastic. Like, just the art and screenplay and everything is just brilliant. So, plus if you want to see a really hot Leonardo DiCaprio, again, recommended. Who doesn't want to see a hot Leonardo DiCaprio when he was young? Oh my gosh. Just thinking about it now. The next one is Fight Club. Now, again, I haven't seen this one until a couple years ago, actually, and at first I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is great, but I don't understand it. What's going on? And then I rewatched it, and I was like, oh my god, this movie is fantastic. I am not complaining at all. Once you get it, like, again, I'm not going to ruin anything. I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything, because that's just mean. That's one thing I hate in this world, is people spoiling things. Just go and watch it. Fantastic. It's one of my favourite movies. And I'm not usually a Brad Pitt fan in movies, but he was really good in this. He was fantastic in this. And it's funny, and it's got a really good social commentary and everything. So again, watch it. Really watch it. And, okay, I only got 2 more, so I'm gonna go through these quickly. A Clockwork Orange. Read the book when I was a kid. Loved it. Didn't understand it, obviously. It took me a while to understand the language of Nadsat. But I loved it. And also the movie was just brilliant. Kubrick is one of my favourite directors of all time besides Tim Burton and Tarantino. Unfortunately, if I had a top 20 movies, this would probably go on forever because I have so many favourite movies. But these are the ones that really hit me, I think. These are the ones that really influenced my life. But yes, A Clockwork Orange, again, fantastic movie, beautiful visuals as well, like with the art style of the sets and everything, and the characters, like, you know, costumes, that's the word, the costumes. It just really melds well, and it's so disturbingly, like, it's just a disturbing look on society, especially with kids and teenagers and violence, and it's just really well done, and it's a really good look at the government and everything. And the final one is Trainspotting. I have read the book. I have the book, but I lent it to a friend. Don't know where it is, unfortunately, but I watched the movie. The second I turned 18, I was allowed to, even though, don't get me wrong, I've seen a couple of R-rated films before I was 18, don't tell anyone. And this one, again, is just a classic. It is just fantastic. It's so, again, bleak and dark and everything, but it just puts a really kind of funny twist on it and everything. It was fantastic. Again, all these movies I highly, highly recommend watching. Unless you don't like horror that much, don't watch The Ring, because you will get scared. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. It's gonna scare you. And that's all I really have for today. I didn't really have a lot of time to write a script today, I'm sorry. I didn't really know what I was gonna talk about, so I thought, hey, movies. There you go, everyone likes movies. Who doesn't like movies? But yes, now I'm gonna go back to watching my horror movie that I'm watching called Treehouse. Haven't seen it, it's not bad so far. Acting's a bit bleh, bit bland, but there you go, you can't really get kid actors that are good, usually. Like, it's hard. Anyway, have a lovely rest of your day, lovely humans, and I shall see you next time. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I shall see you guys later. Ciao!